also practical and efficient. He has led the engineering services component on various international and mega projects in Dubai, Australia, over the last 10 years, and more recently on projects in Southeast Asia. He has been involved in master planning and community consultation, as well as concept and detailed design and energy management. His experience on specialist complex buildings extend to data centers, cold storage, water facilities, tertiary campus buildings, light rail and rail stations, and maintenance facilities and health clinics. Please welcome our speakers for today, led by Engineer Felipe Agustin, to share knowledge and expertise in sustainable engineering design and built environment beyond sustainability, sustainable strategies for a greener future. Accompanied by engineers of Eco Solution, Engineer John Isaiah A. Torres, Senior Mechanical Engineer, and Engineer Janelle Ann B. Bayoneta, Sustainability Engineer. Please welcome Eco Solutions team.
Thank you, Architect Joey. It's a very introduction. I was humbled. So yeah, thank you everyone. Good morning. We thank you for inviting us to share our experiences in sustainability. And this is where we want to wake up in the morning and start working on sustainable projects, right? So I will be joined with my team in the company, which are the forefront of our projects. So our discussion will be drilling down on more specifics on projects and project cases. So start with, our objective for today will be, hopefully we'll understand sustainable engineering on a wholesome approach. We recognize the importance of the sustainable practices in building environment. As our experience as design engineers, we spend a lot of time in thinking and conceptualizing and developing schematics before we even drill down to the details of the design. So recognition of sustainable initiatives. We'll discuss more on the USGBC LEED certification. As our previous speaker said a while ago, a lot of certification available worldwide. We have BREEAM, EDGE, ABTRS in Australia, all over the world. But based on our experience, we had a very good interaction with LEED. They are very detailed and they are very technical. And we explore the benefits of the certification of the project. Again, like what I'm referring to the previous speaker, some developers, they have a real corporate social responsibility, but some of them, most of them, are marketing strategy. So it's branding, you know? And it helps. All of these things in these things, as long as it's sustainable initiative, it helps. If it's marketing or real corporate social responsibility. And then we'll discuss some project cases. Engineer Janelle will share that with you, and Engineer Isaiah. So the contents of this presentation is introduction for sustainable engineering and green building certification, and what is LEED and how to implement. The role of the engineers. Again, numbers. According to the previous speaker, I was listening to you. The numbers are overwhelming. 7% is it? Are engineers. 6% are architects. Right. Not condescending the architects, but that's the reality. So there's a lot of building physics analysis, systems analysis. And then what is energy modeling? It's very, very important factor for a sustainable project, like especially for buildings and infrastructure. And then Engineer Asai will drill down on lead cases. So, as we go, let's define what sustainability is, or the importance of it, and the triple bottom line, and beyond sustain ovation. So it's not just sustainability, but it's also innovation. How do we merge those two words, sustainability and innovation? So, according to Gro Harlem Brundtland, she was the Prime Minister of Norway for some time. And according to her, the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own. So, in a nutshell, sustainability aims to reduce. Sustainability aims to reduce resource consumption, reduce the carbon footprint. What is carbon footprint? Footprint is a carbon dioxide emission that is equivalent to embodied energy that is being dispersed in the atmosphere, and promote long-term environmental health. So, one second. So, in a nutshell, sustainability has triple bottom line. So, it's environment, which is the planet, people, which is social, and profit, which is economics. So, if we don't have those three categories within sustainability, we cannot call a project as sustainable. I've been hearing a lot of economics from the previous speaker, the cost and all this. But as our experience as sustainable engineers working for the project, we always look at on the benefits of not just the capital cost, but in terms of operational and durability and shelf life and the whole life cycle of the materials. So, if I go back, okay. Now, sustainability and innovation. Since my practice, I practice overseas. I had 8-10 years working as a young design engineer in Australia. So, we were taught on how to do a basic fundamental calculations. But then again, as we evolved, we started using AI tools. And what are these? Energy modeling. We're using Design Builder. During my time, we were using Energy Plus, which is a very difficult software. And but for now, our engineer here, we're using Design Builder and Energy Plus, which predicts the whole dynamic energy consumption of the building. And based on my experience, if it's run properly, it's like within 5% target threshold on consumption yearly. Or because we interface with the weather profile of the region, we interface with how it will operate in the whole details. It's a hardcore engineering process when you're doing energy modeling. We use BIM. Using BIM, we increase our efficiency in working on projects. BIM is interfaced with another software. It's called Navisworks, where you press the button and it spits out the bill of quantity. So all this long-term way doing methodology of working on the project increases the efficiency of our task. And then we have Dialux. Dialux is a software that predicts or simulates the level of lightings. Aurora Solar, it calculates, it spits out the energy consumption of the solar panels that we're trying to design or come up with. Motherboard, 3D scanning, we go on site, we scan this room, we send it to our computer, then we have the drawings. Revit is the BIM. Google Earth is an AI. It helps us to locate the site, topographic informations, and open concern AI. This will help the infrastructure because it gives you a disaster analysis for every region. So the technology, the artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, and corporate social responsibilities, in my opinion, defines the title of sustainability. It's not just sustainability, but it also incorporates innovation. Gone are the days where we as engineers, they throw the architectural drawings and will do the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural. But nowadays, we interface with the architects. So they give us the drawings, we run it on a model, a simulation, and we advise them. This is how the building will be working more energy efficient. Like if we reduce the exposure of ratio of window wall or the orientation or all those things we can have the early information to assist and to have this valuable, powerful information with the project stakeholders. Sustainable engineering focuses on design buildings to reduce the environmental impact. From conceptual to construction, even up to the post-construction during the operations. From the years that we've been certifying or designing green buildings, we've had certified operations buildings that are already operation for more than 25 years. One of them is the Land Bank, Philippines, located in Ross Boulevard. We were able to certify them as an operations and existing building. And these are some of the certifications that are available, but in our experience, we are very comfortable and very confident in terms of working with LEED. So, okay. So, why we are being specific on LEED? We are not promoting LEED. It's just we are just sharing on based on our experience. So, we'll have an idea on how the green building works and how the certification is that will contribute to your marketing strategy and your actual operations. LEED covers comprehensive. LEED is very comprehensive. If we are certifying a building under LEED, USGBC LEED, it takes like 3 or 4, right? Back and forth correspondence on how they will scrutinize all the documents that will be submitted. It has a proven impact on reduced cost as long as we spend a lot of time on the schematic and conceptual design. It's globally recognized. It's one of the very early certification process. I think most of these other certification bodies are patterned or are a spin-off of the certification. It's very transparent, and their third-party verification method is very daunting. They're very technical. They know what they're looking at, and they know what they're reviewing, especially the modeling, right? Yeah. So LEED and other certification body like EDGE, well, Verde and RIA is a tool for implementation. It defines the standards on the level of certification. I think they have their own level and category. There's a LEED, silver, gold, platinum, and for other, like Verde has 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars. RIA has the same. Well has the same. Again, that's about, I guess that's about the strategy. But it also defines the in-depth initiatives, sustainable initiatives that you consider your project. Okay, so to explain further down the track, I will pass it on to Engineer Asaya. Arsaya is one of our team in US Solutions, and he's been involved in a number of sustainable projects.
Good morning, everyone. I'll discuss LEED. So, what is LEED? Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. Continue with what Engineer Felipe said. It is a green building certification program that sets benchmarks for sustainability and environmental responsibility in design, construction, and operations. This certification is developed by United States Green Building Council. Let's look at the certification categories. We have 4 categories, which is building design and constructions for core and shell projects, new construction projects, and major renovation projects. We have interior design constructions, or ID+C, for office fit-outs, building operations and maintenance for existing buildings, and LEED homes for multi-family residential homes. LEED certification levels. We have 4 levels of certification, as mentioned by Engineer Felipe. First is certified for 40 to 49 points. Next is silver for 50 to 59 points. Gold for 60 to 79 points. And the highest of them all is platinum, which is 80 plus points. For the certification timeline, let's start with the LEED registration. In this part, the project gives commitment to which credits and prerequisites are to be considered. Next, it will proceed to schematic design, design development. Then we can have the design certification stage, where USGBC will ensure that the design will be sustainable. After that, we have the construction stage. Then we can have the construction certification stage. Key LEED credit categories. We have at least 7 categories to ensure that sustainability is targeted. We have location and transportation, sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, inter-environmental quality, and lastly, innovation. I'll give a brief description for each category. Let's start with location and transportation. This credit category encourages building in areas with good access to public transportation. This helps to reduce car dependencies, lower carbon emissions, and promote more sustainable travel options such as walking. It promotes biking and also carpooling, and lastly, to use the public transit. By choosing well-connected locations, projects can improve sustainability, reduce traffic congestion, and support a more eco-friendly urban environment. Next category is sustainable sites. The sustainable sites credit category focuses on selecting building locations to minimize the environmental impact and protect natural resources. This includes strategies such as preserving green spaces, managing stormwater runoff, and reducing the heat island effect. By integrating sustainable landscaping and environmental responsible site planning, projects can create healthier outdoor spaces for people while reducing ecological disruption. Next category is WE, or the water efficiency. The water efficiency credit category aims to reduce water consumption in buildings through smart design and efficient technologies. This includes indoor water use reduction and outdoor water use reductions. For indoor water use reductions, it promotes to use low-flow fixtures, water-efficient appliances, and for outdoor water use reduction, is to use sustainable landscaping to minimize the water waste. By optimizing water use, buildings can have lower utility costs, reduce strain on local water supplies, and promote long-term conservation of this vital resource. Next, one of the very important credit in LEED, which is the energy in atmosphere. This credit category focuses on reducing energy consumption of the building. It improves the building performance, cutting the greenhouse gas emissions. This can be achieved to using energy efficient building systems. Also by using renewable energy source and using BMS, or building management systems, the smart building controls. By optimized energy use, buildings can have lower operational cost, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and minimize the environmental impact. Next, materials and resources. This category promotes the use of sustainable, recycled, and locally manufactured materials to reduce the building environmental impact. It also encourages waste reduction, recycling, and responsible material sourcing to minimize landfill waste. By prioritizing eco-friendly materials, buildings can lower their carbon footprint and support a more sustainable construction industry. Next, inter-environmental quality, or IEQ. IEQ focuses on creating healthier and more comfortable indoor spaces. It promotes good air quality, access to natural light, and effective ventilation system to enhance the well-being of the occupant. Last, the innovation credit. The innovation category encourages projects to go beyond the standard sustainability. This can be implemented by creating and developing strategies to further enhance the environmental performance. LEED pushes the boundaries of sustainable design and encourages continuous improvement. An essential part of energy efficient building is understanding their performance before construction. To explain how energy modeling helps optimize energy use, predict performance, and support LEED certification, I'll hand it over to Engineer Bayoneta to discuss the energy modeling.
So, good Engineer Jeanette. I will be discussing more about energy modeling and the benefits of the LEED certification. So, we started with a great discussion on sustainable engineering design. Why is it important, and why we choose LEED as our framework. So then we move to the LEED credits, as was discussed by Engineer Isaiah. Now let's talk about the energy modeling. So what is energy modeling? Since LEED puts us a strong focus in the energy efficiency, we need a way to predict and optimize how the building will use the energy. So that's exactly what energy modeling is all about. So to simply put, energy modeling is like running a simulation to see how the building will use the energy. So it helps us analyze like the heating, cooling, lighting, and ventilation. Basically everything that relates to the energy consumption. So one of the most advanced tools is the Energy Plus. Actually, there are different software options that we can use, like EQuest, IES, but for this process, we will be more focused on the Design Builder as our reference. So I'll walk you through the step-by-step process of setting up an energy model in Design Builder, from importing plans to generating results. So let's jump right in. So step one, we have to gather all the documents that we need, the architectural, mechanical, and electrical plans. So these documents are important because they provide basis for the accurate energy modeling that we need. For step two, we have to make sure all the documents is complete, and we have to verify that there are no missing or incorrect details. So once everything is complete, we can now start the energy modeling process. For step 3, you can convert your architectural plans to DXF files. If you're working with Revit, you can export your 3D geometry to .gbxml file and import it to the Design Builder. For step 4, you can now import your DXF files to Design Builder. So once it is imported, you will be able to use the file and help you build your 3D building geometry. For step 5, it's time to input the details on the building activity schedule and occupancy. This includes the operating hours and how much people occupy the space. And you can also set here the cooling and heating set points to ensure the system operates efficiently. In step 6, you can now define the building materials and enter the U values of it, because U values determines how much heat will transfer through the building materials. It affects the heating and cooling loads of the space, so getting these values correct should be crucial for accurate energy calculations. For step 7, you will add the window and glazing parameters. So, like the type of glazing, the size, and orientation of the windows. You will also input here in the lighting tab the lighting power density to understand how much energy lighting will consume. Next step is we have to configure the HVAC system. For LEED, you need to use the HVAC detailed option because it simulates the performance of HVAC components more accurately. Next step, once all the parameters is entered, it's time to run a simulation in the proposed building. After that, you can now generate the baseline model and Design Builder can automatically do that for you. So the baseline model is based on ASHRAE standards, and this acts as the benchmark comparing to the proposed design. So for the last step, you have to run the simulation for both baseline and proposed building. Afterward, you can compare the result to determine the energy savings. So Design Builder will include in the reports the energy use intensity and the carbon emissions, which are essential for LEED. So that wraps up our discussion on energy modeling in Design Builder and how it helps with energy and atmosphere credit for LEED. So here is our energy modeling sample works. We have a energy model of Park Triangle Corporate Center. On the left, you can see the proposed building design, and next to it is the baseline building that follows the ASHRAE standards. The result on the right show the energy savings achieved by the proposed design compared to the baseline building. So this analysis helps us see how design choices impact the energy building performance and how much efficiency that we can gain. Another example that we have is the Brilliance Center. So the setup is the same. We have the proposed building on the left, and next to it is the baseline building. And on the right is the ASHRAE 90.1 result displayed, which is its energy savings. So again, the comparison helps evaluate how energy efficient the design is and where we can make an improvement to the proposed design. So by running the simulation to these energy models, we can optimize the building performance. We can reduce the energy consumption and maximize the LEED points that we need. So now that we've seen how energy modeling helps optimize building performance, let's talk about why this matters. So specifically, the benefits of LEED certification. So first is the environmental impact. So LEED buildings use less energy and water. It reduces carbon emissions and promotes sustainability. So basically, they help us minimize the harm that we do to the environment, which is a win for everyone. Next benefit is the economic savings. So because the LEED buildings are more energy efficient, they cost less to operate. So lower electricity bill and water bill means long-term savings, so which is always a win. Next benefit is the health and well-being. So LEED building focuses on how to improve the air quality, the natural lighting, and using materials or promoting the materials that are less harmful to the environment. So people who working or living on the LEED buildings feels more healthier and better.
Okay, just to wrap it up, because we're giving 5 minutes. Yeah. So again, just to wrap it up, all these are triple bottom line. So environment, cost, and human benefits. No. So all of these design parameters and prescribed guidelines refers to international and local regulatory standards for environmental air and thermal occupancy. That's ASHRAE. Electricity is IEC. Lighting is IEC. And we refer, also, it's not limited to a geographical location, because you would wonder, one of my struggles on the early practice in the Philippines was, some people were saying, LEED is not applicable to Philippines. Yes, of course, it is applicable. Because it refers to a region where it's defined under ASHRAE, region A, ASHRAE 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 2C. So it's from arid climates to winter climates. arid and wet climates. So sustainable engineering, it's a way to go. It's the only way to go. We have to put a lot of hours in study and simulation. And I guess that's our presentation for the day. Sustainability and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Felipe Agustin. One of the privileges of being a good friend of these luminaries is that it takes one phone call or an ambush in a meeting with John Casidag together with our clients and